I was frosting a batch of vanilla cupcakes when the door chimed. Nothing unusual about that. People came and went from Sweetwater Patisserie all day long. But when I looked up, I saw something that made my hands freeze mid-swirl. A man stood in the doorway, and in his arms was a child who looked like a ghost. She couldn't have been more than 4 years old, but she was so thin that her bones pressed against her skin like they were trying to escape. Her eyes were open, but they stared at nothing. Empty. Hollow. Her little arms hung limp at her sides, and her head lolled against the man's shoulder as if she didn't have the strength to hold it up. The man was well-dressed, expensive suit rumpled and stained, tie hanging loose around his neck. His face was haggard, dark circles carved beneath red-rimmed eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. Maybe he hadn't. He took 3 steps into my bakery and stopped. His lips trembled. His whole body shook. "Please," he whispered. The word cracked in half. "Please, someone help me. My daughter, she won't eat. She hasn't eaten in 3 weeks. She hasn't spoken in 2 months. The doctors can't help. The hospitals can't help. Nobody can help. I've tried everything. Everything. And she's dying. My little girl is dying, and I don't know what to do anymore." The few customers in the shop turned to stare. Mrs. Patterson, who came in every Tuesday for her lemon tarts, made a face and grabbed her bag. "Poor thing," she muttered, but she hurried toward the door. "Such a tragedy. But what can anyone do?" Mr. Chin, who always bought day-old bread at a discount, shook his head sadly. "Terrible situation. Absolutely terrible." He collected his purchases and left without another word. The man's face crumpled as he watched them go. He turned to the young couple by the window, desperation pouring off him in waves. "Please. If anyone knows anything, anyone who can help, I'll pay anything. Anything." The couple exchanged uncomfortable glances. The woman touched her boyfriend's arm and whispered something. They stood, left their half-eaten pastries on the table and walked out. One by one, every customer in my bakery found a reason to leave. They couldn't meet the man's eyes. They couldn't look at the dying child in his arms. Within 3 minutes, the shop was empty except for him, his daughter, and me. The man's shoulders sagged. A sound escaped his throat, something between a sob and a gasp. His knees started to buckle. I dropped my frosting bag and rushed around the counter. "Sit," I said, pulling out a chair at the nearest table. "Sit down before you fall down." He collapsed into the chair, still clutching his daughter close. Up close, she looked even worse. Her skin had a grayish tint. Her breathing was shallow. Her tiny fingers were like twigs. "When did she last drink water?" I asked. The man blinked at me as if he'd forgotten I was there. This morning. A few sips. That's all she'll take. A few sips of water, and only because I beg her. Food, she won't touch food. She turns her head away. She pushes it away. She just sits there staring at nothing, and she's fading. I'm watching my daughter fade away and I can't stop it." His voice broke on the last word. Tears spilled down his cheeks and he didn't bother to wipe them away. I looked at the little girl. Really looked at her. And I saw something in those empty eyes that I recognized. Something I'd seen in my own mirror 2 years ago, after they lowered my husband into the ground. Grief. The kind that swallows you whole. The kind that makes you want to disappear because the pain of being alive is too much to bear. But here's the question I need you to answer in the comments. Have you ever watched someone you love suffer and felt completely helpless to stop it? Have you ever been so desperate that you'd turn to a stranger for a miracle? Subscribe and tell me your story, because this little girl's journey is about to show us all something powerful about healing and hope. "What's her name?" I asked softly. The man looked at me with surprise, as if he'd expected me to send him away like everyone else. "Lily Rose," he whispered. "Her name is Lily Rose Pierce. And I'm Nathan. Nathan Pierce." The name rang a bell. Pierce. The Pierce family owned half the commercial real estate in 3 counties. They were billionaires. People whispered about them the way they whispered about celebrities. None of that mattered right now. "Hello, Lily Rose," I said gently. I didn't try to touch her. I just sat down in the chair across from them. "My name is Isabel. Isabel Cooper. And I'm very glad you came to visit my bakery today." Lily Rose didn't respond. She didn't blink. She didn't move. Nathan's face twisted. "You see? She doesn't react to anything. She's like she's already gone. Like her body is still here, but she's already gone somewhere else." His voice dropped to a broken whisper. "Somewhere I can't follow. Somewhere I can't bring her back from." "What happened?" I asked. Nathan closed his eyes. 2 months ago, my wife, Lily Rose's mother, there was a car accident. Lily Rose was in the back seat. She saw everything. She saw. He couldn't finish. He pressed his face against his daughter's hair and shook with silent sobs. My heart cracked open. I knew that pain. I knew what it felt like to lose someone you loved more than your own life. I knew what it felt like when the world kept spinning and you didn't understand how everyone else could just keep living when your entire universe had ended. I reached across the table and gently touched Lily Rose's tiny hand. Her skin was cold. Lily Rose, I said quietly, I lost someone too. His name was Thomas. He was my husband and he was the best man I ever knew. When he died, I didn't want to eat either. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to do anything except disappear. Do you know what helped me? Lily Rose didn't move, but I could have sworn something flickered in her eyes. The tiniest spark. Baking, I said. I started baking bread. Then cookies. Then cakes. And every time I baked something, I remembered good things. Happy things. The way Thomas used to steal cookies when they were still warm. The way he'd hug me from behind while I rolled out dough. The way he'd tell me my banana bread was better than his grandmother's, and that was the highest compliment he knew how to give. Nathan was watching me now, hope and fear warring on his face. Baking didn't bring him back, I continued, still looking at Lily Rose. Nothing could bring him back. But it reminded me that there were still good things in the world. That there could still be sweetness, even after so much bitter. That I could create something warm and beautiful, even though I felt cold and broken inside. I stood up slowly and walked back behind the counter. I pulled a small butter cookie from the display case, the same kind I'd been making since I opened this bakery 3 years ago. Simple. Nothing fancy. Just butter, sugar, flour, and vanilla. The kind of cookie that tasted like home. I brought it back to the table and set it down in front of Lily Rose. You don't have to eat it, I said. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But it's here if you want it. And if you don't want it today, that's okay too. I'll make fresh ones tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. As many days as it takes. Nathan stared at me like I'd just offered him the moon. You'll help us? Yes, I said simply. I'll pay you anything. Name your price. I have money. I have resources. Whatever you want, whatever you need. I held up a hand to stop him. I don't want your money, Mr. Pierce. He blinked. Then what do you want? I looked at Lily Rose, at this tiny broken child who reminded me so much of myself. I want to spend time with her. I want to bake with her here in my bakery, where she can be around flour and sugar and the smell of things growing warm in the oven. I want to tell her stories about people I've lost and people I've loved. I want to sit with her in her sadness and not try to rush her out of it. That's all? Nathan's voice was hoarse. You'll just help her? For nothing? For her? I corrected. I'll do it for her. Nathan's face crumpled again. He buried his face in Lily Rose's hair and his shoulders shook. Thank you, he sobbed. Thank you. Thank you. Nobody else would help. Everyone else turned away. They looked at her like she was already dead. Like she was a lost cause. But you're the first person who's looked at her like she's still in there. Like she's still my little girl. I reached out and squeezed his shoulder. She is still in there. She's just very, very sad. And sadness like that takes time to heal. But she can heal. I promise you, Mr. Pierce. She can heal. He looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. Nathan. Please call me Nathan. Nathan, I repeated. Bring Lily Rose here tomorrow morning. 8 o'clock. I'll be baking cinnamon rolls. She doesn't have to eat them. She doesn't have to do anything but sit and watch if that's what she wants. But bring her. Every day. For as long as it takes. Nathan nodded frantically. Yes, I'll bring her. Every day. I promise. He stood carefully, cradling Lily Rose like she might shatter. I don't know how to thank you. Thank me when she eats, I said. He left, carrying his daughter out into the afternoon sunshine. I watched them go, watched him settle her carefully into a car that probably cost more than my bakery, watched him drive away. Then I looked down at the butter cookie I'd placed on the table. Still sitting there. Untouched. I picked it up and took a bite myself. It tasted like hope. Like possibility. Like maybe, just maybe, kindness could do what medicine couldn't. The next morning at 8 o'clock sharp, Nathan Pierce carried his daughter into my bakery. Lily Rose looked exactly the same as the day before. Empty eyes. Limp body. No response to the world around her. But she was here. And that was enough. I smiled at them both and pulled a tray of cinnamon rolls from the oven. Good morning, Lily Rose, I said as if she were any other customer. I'm so glad you came back. Nathan Pierce had always believed that money could solve any problem. It was a belief that had been reinforced his entire life. Need a better education? Buy it. Want to expand the business? Buy it. Facing a legal challenge? Hire the best lawyers money could buy. But money couldn't bring his wife back. And money couldn't make his daughter eat. The day Rebecca died started like any other Saturday. She'd been taking Lily Rose to her ballet class, something they did every week. Mother-daughter time, Rebecca called it. The two of them would stop for hot chocolate afterward, and Lily Rose would chatter about plies and pirouettes all the way home. Nathan had been at the office, reviewing acquisition proposals for a new property development. His phone rang at 10:47 a.m. He almost didn't answer. He was busy, and Rebecca knew not to interrupt him during work hours unless it was important. Something told him to pick up. It wasn't Rebecca. It was a police officer. There had been an accident. A drunk driver had run a red light and T-boned Rebecca's car on the driver's side. She died on impact. Lily Rose was physically unharmed but in shock. Nathan didn't remember driving to the hospital. He didn't remember the officer's face or the questions people asked him. He only remembered seeing Lily Rose sitting on a hospital bed, covered in a blanket, staring at the wall with those empty eyes. "Lily Rose," he'd whispered, rushing to her side. "Baby, it's Daddy. I'm here. You're safe. You're okay." But she wasn't okay. She didn't look at him. She didn't speak. She just sat there, small and silent, like a statue of the daughter he used to know. The doctors examined her. No broken bones. No internal injuries. Physically she was fine. Psychologically, though, she'd suffered severe trauma. They recommended grief counselors, child psychologists, play therapy, art therapy, music therapy. Nathan tried everything they suggested. He hired the best specialists in the state. He flew in experts from across the country. He spared no expense. Nothing worked. Lily Rose came home from the hospital and went straight to her room. She sat on her bed and stared at the wall. Nathan tried to talk to her, but she didn't respond. His mother, Patricia, came to help. She cooked Lily Rose's favorite foods and set them out on bright, cheerful plates. Lily Rose didn't touch them. Days passed. Lily Rose would drink small sips of water when Nathan or Patricia held the cup to her lips, but she wouldn't eat. Not a bite. Not a crumb. She'd turn her head away or let the food fall from her mouth, or simply sit with her lips pressed together until whoever was trying to feed her gave up. The doctors said it was a trauma response. Sometimes, after witnessing something horrific, children shut down completely. They retreat into themselves because the outside world has become too painful to exist in. Food refusal was common in these cases. The body doesn't want to do anything that requires energy or attention. It just wants to disappear. She needs intensive therapy, one psychologist said. This could take months, maybe years. She needs medication to stabilize her mood, another suggested. Then we can work on the eating. She needs a structured inpatient program, a third recommended. Somewhere she can be monitored around the clock and receive specialized care. Nathan tried the medication. Lily Rose's eyes went even more blank. He tried the inpatient program. She sat in the corner of a sterile room and stared at the wall for 3 days straight until Nathan couldn't bear it anymore and brought her home. 2 weeks became 3. Lily Rose grew thinner. Her skin took on a grayish tint. Her hair started to fall out in small clumps. Nathan would sit beside her bed at night, watching her chest rise and fall with shallow breaths, terrified that one night it would just stop. "You have to eat, baby," he'd whisper. "Please. Please eat something. Anything. I'll get you whatever you want. Ice cream. Pizza. Candy. Just name it, sweetheart. Please." Lily Rose never responded. The doctors warned him that if she didn't start eating soon, they'd have to insert a feeding tube. Nathan agreed, desperate. But when they tried, Lily Rose screamed. It was the first sound she'd made in weeks, a high-pitched shriek of pure terror that didn't stop until they removed the tube. After that, she went even more silent, even more withdrawn. Nathan couldn't bear to try again. 3 weeks. 21 days without food. Lily Rose was dying in front of him, and Nathan was powerless to stop it. He'd sit in his office late at night, head in his hands, and wonder what he'd done wrong. How he'd failed as a father. How his daughter could be slipping away and he couldn't do a single thing to save her. His mother found him there one night, hunched over his desk, crying. "Nathan," Patricia said softly, sitting down across from him, "you need to try something different." "I've tried everything, Mom. Everything. The best doctors. The best therapists. Nothing works. She's giving up. And I don't know how to fight something I can't see." Patricia was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Have you tried that baker woman?" The one who runs the little shop on 3rd Street. Nathan looked up, confused. What? A baker? Mom, what is a baker going to do that teams of specialists couldn't? I don't know, Patricia admitted. But there's something about her. People say her food makes them feel different, comforted, like they've come home. I know it sounds strange, but I bought a loaf of her bread last month, and it was the first time since Rebecca died that I felt like I could breathe properly. Nathan shook his head. That's just good baking, Mom. It's not magic. Maybe not, Patricia said. But at this point, what do you have to lose? What did he have to lose? Nathan looked down at his hands, at the wedding ring he still wore even though his wife was gone. He thought about Lily Rose, about her empty eyes and her skeletal frame and the way she was fading a little more every single day. He had everything to lose. Fine, he said. I'll go see this baker. The next afternoon, Nathan drove to 3rd Street. Sweetwater Patisserie was a small shop wedged between a dry cleaner and a hardware store. The front window displayed pastries and cakes, all arranged neatly on white platters. Nothing fancy. Nothing that screamed miracle worker. Nathan almost turned around. This was ridiculous. A baker wasn't going to save his daughter. But then he remembered Patricia's words. What do you have to lose? He went inside. The smell hit him first. Warm bread, cinnamon, sugar, vanilla. It smelled like every good childhood memory he'd ever had, all rolled into one. A woman stood behind the counter, piping frosting onto cupcakes. She was beautiful, with warm brown skin and natural hair pulled back in a bun. She wore a simple blue apron over a green dress. When she looked up and smiled at him, something in Nathan's chest loosened just slightly. Good afternoon, she said. Can I help you with something? Nathan opened his mouth, then closed it. How did you ask a stranger to save your dying child? How did you explain that you'd exhausted every logical option and were now grasping at hope itself? He started, then stopped. I heard you make good bread. The woman's smile widened. I try my best. Would you like to try a sample? She cut a slice from a fresh loaf and handed it to him. Nathan took a bite. It was perfect. Soft and warm and exactly the right amount of salt. It tasted like something his grandmother used to make when he was small, before the money and the business and all the complications. Tasted like home. It's good, Nathan said quietly. Thank you. The woman went back to her cupcakes. Nathan stood there watching her work. She moved with a quiet confidence, nothing rushed or forced. There was a peace about her that he couldn't quite name. Like she'd been through something terrible and come out the other side softer instead of harder. Do you? Nathan struggled with the words. Do you believe food can help people? I mean beyond just nutrition? The woman paused and looked at him. Really looked at him. Yes, she said. I do. I think food can be medicine. Not the kind that cures diseases, but the kind that heals hearts. The kind that reminds you that good things still exist in the world. Nathan's throat tightened. My daughter, he said. She hasn't eaten in 3 weeks. She won't speak. She won't respond to anything. And I've tried everything. Doctors, therapists, medications, everything. And she's dying, and I don't know what else to do. The woman set down her frosting bag. What's your daughter's name? Lily Rose. She's 4 years old. Nathan's voice cracked. She watched her mother die 2 months ago. And ever since then she's been disappearing. And I can't reach her. I can't bring her back. The woman came around the counter. My name is Isabel Cooper, she said. And I lost my husband 2 years ago. I know what it feels like to not want to be in the world anymore. I know what it feels like when everything tastes like ash and nothing matters because the person you loved most is gone. Nathan stared at her. How did you survive it? I baked, Isabel said simply. And slowly, very slowly, I remembered that there were still things worth living for. Small things. The smell of bread. The feel of dough. The way a perfect cookie could make someone smile. Can you help my daughter? Nathan asked. The words came out as a plea. Can you at least try? Isabel didn't hesitate. Yes, she said. Bring her to me. Before I became the woman who saved Lily Rose Pierce, I was just Isabel Cooper, the baker nobody paid attention to. People came into my shop because the pastries were good and the prices were fair, but they never really saw me. I was part of the background, like the wallpaper or the coffee machine. I'd learned to be okay with that. Being invisible meant being safe. It meant nobody asked too many questions about why I'd opened a bakery in the first place, or why I always wore long sleeves even in summer, or why I sometimes went days without speaking to anyone except to take orders and say thank you. I hadn't always been invisible. 3 years ago, I was Isabel Williams, married to Thomas Cooper, working as a nurse at County General Hospital. We had plans. Big plans. We were going to buy a house with a yard. Maybe have a baby or two. Grow old together and watch our grandchildren play in that same yard. Then Thomas got sick. It started with a cough. Nothing serious, we thought. Everyone gets coughs. But this one didn't go away. It got worse. Thomas started losing weight. Feeling tired all the time. I made him see a doctor, and that's when our lives fell apart. Lung cancer. Stage 4. Already spread to his lymph nodes. 6 months to live, maybe less. Thomas lasted 4 months. 4 months of watching the strongest man I'd ever known waste away to nothing. 4 months of hospital stays and chemo treatments and radiation that made him so sick he couldn't keep anything down. 4 months of him apologizing to me, saying he was sorry he was leaving me, sorry he couldn't keep his promises, sorry he couldn't give me the life we'd planned. I told him every single day that he had nothing to be sorry for. That loving him had been the greatest gift of my life. That I'd rather have 4 more months with him than a whole lifetime with anyone else. I meant every word. Thomas died on a Tuesday morning in April. The dogwoods were blooming outside the hospital window. He held my hand and told me he loved me, and then he was gone. I didn't know how to exist after that. The world kept spinning and I couldn't understand why. How could the sun keep rising? How could people keep going to work and making dinner and laughing at jokes when Thomas was gone? When my entire reason for existing had stopped existing. I quit my job at the hospital. I couldn't walk those halls anymore, couldn't smell that antiseptic smell without remembering Thomas in a hospital bed, too weak to stand. For weeks I barely moved. I sat in our apartment and stared at the walls. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just existed in a fog of grief so thick I couldn't see through it. Then one day I found Thomas's grandmother's recipe box in the back of a closet. She'd given it to him years ago, full of handwritten cards with recipes for bread and pies and cookies. Thomas had always meant to try making them, but he'd never gotten around to it. I pulled out a card. Brown sugar cookies. Simple ingredients. Easy instructions. I baked them. And for the first time since Thomas died, I felt something other than pain. I felt peace. Just for a moment. Just while the cookies were baking and the apartment smelled like brown sugar and vanilla. Just while I was following someone else's instructions and didn't have to think about anything except measuring and mixing. It wasn't much. But it was something. I baked every recipe in that box. Bread. Muffins. Cakes. Scones. And every time I baked something, I felt Thomas with me. Not in a sad way. In a warm way. Like he was standing behind me, hands on my waist, telling me I was doing great. I started giving the baked goods away to neighbors. They loved them. They asked if I'd consider selling them. I'd never thought about baking professionally, but I needed something to do with my days. Something other than sitting in an empty apartment and drowning in memories. I used Thomas's life insurance money to lease a small shop space on 3rd Street. I named it Sweetwater Patisserie, after the street where Thomas and I had our first apartment. I opened 6 months after he died. The bakery saved my life. It gave me a reason to get up in the morning. It gave me something to do with my hands. It gave me a way to turn my grief into something beautiful. People loved my baked goods. Word spread. I got regular customers. But I never got friends. People would come in, buy their pastries, make small talk, and leave. And after they left, I'd hear them outside the shop talking about me. Poor thing, they'd say. So sad about her husband. She's nice enough, but she's so quiet. A bit simple, don't you think? Just a baker. Nothing special. The word stung at first. But eventually I stopped caring. Let them think I was simple. Let them think I was nothing special. I knew the truth. I knew that I'd survived something that should have destroyed me. I knew that every loaf of bread I baked was an act of defiance against the darkness that had tried to swallow me whole. I knew that I was stronger than they could possibly imagine. Still, it was lonely. Running the bakery by myself, living in the small apartment above it, spending my evenings alone with nothing but the memory of Thomas for company. Some nights were harder than others. Some nights I'd lie in bed and wonder if this was all my life would ever be. If I'd spend the next 40 years baking bread for people who didn't really see me, going through the motions without ever really living. But then I'd wake up the next morning and I'd bake. Because that's what I knew how to do. That's what Thomas's grandmother had taught me through her recipe cards. You get up. You keep going. You turn flour and sugar and butter into something that makes people happy, even if you're not happy yourself. The day Nathan Pierce walked into my bakery, I'd been awake since 4 in the morning. I always started early. It gave me time to bake before the customers arrived. Time to lose myself in the rhythm of kneading and rolling and measuring. I was frosting cupcakes when he came in. He looked expensive. Designer suit. Fancy watch. The kind of man who was used to getting what he wanted when he wanted it. But his eyes were desperate. Wanted. I recognized that look. I'd seen it in my own mirror often enough. When the other customers left, when he was standing there alone with his dying daughter in his arms, I didn't think. I just acted. I said yes because how could I say no? How could I look at that little girl and not see myself 2 years ago, wishing I could just disappear because the pain was too much? I didn't know if I could help Lily Rose. I didn't have special training or magical powers. I just had flour and sugar and the memory of my own grief. But sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes, the person who can help you most is the person who's already walked through the fire and come out the other side. The next morning, Nathan brought Lily Rose to the bakery at 8 o'clock sharp. I'd already been baking for 4 hours. Cinnamon rolls just like I'd promised. The bakery smelled like heaven. Nathan carried Lily Rose inside and set her gently in a chair at one of the small tables by the window. She sat there like a doll, limp and lifeless, staring at nothing. "Good morning, Lily Rose," I said cheerfully, pulling the tray of cinnamon rolls from the oven. "I made these especially for you. You don't have to eat them if you don't want to. You can just sit here and smell them if that's enough." Nathan looked at me with such hope in his eyes that it physically hurt. I wanted to tell him not to hope too much. Not to expect miracles. But I couldn't crush what little faith he had left. I brought a cinnamon roll to Lily Rose's table and set it down in front of her. She didn't move. Didn't blink. Just kept staring at nothing. "These were my husband's favorite," I told her, sitting down across from her. "He used to wake up early on Sundays just to make them for me. He wasn't a very good baker, honestly. His cinnamon rolls were always a little lopsided and sometimes they were burnt on the bottom. But they were made with love, so they always tasted perfect to me." Lily Rose didn't respond. "He died 2 years ago," I continued. "And I miss him every single day. Some days are worse than others. Some days I wake up and I forget, just for a second, that he's gone. And then I remember and it feels like losing him all over again." Nathan was standing by the counter, frozen, listening to every word. "But I learned something," I said to Lily Rose. "I learned that the people we love don't really leave us. Not completely. They stay with us in the little things. In the recipes they taught us. In the songs they used to sing. In the way they made us feel when they held our hands." I reached out slowly and touched Lily Rose's hand. She didn't pull away. She didn't react at all. But she didn't pull away. "Your mama is still with you," I whispered. "She's in your heart. And she's never, ever going to leave that spot. No matter how much time passes. No matter how big you grow. She'll always be right there." A single tear rolled down Lily Rose's cheek. It was the first emotion she'd shown in 2 months. Nathan made a sound like a wounded animal. He pressed his hand over his mouth, tears streaming down his face. I squeezed Lily Rose's hand gently. "It's okay to be sad," I said. "It's okay to cry. It's okay to not want to eat or talk or do anything at all. But you're not alone, sweetheart. You're not alone." We sat there in silence for a long time. Lily Rose didn't eat the cinnamon roll. She didn't speak. But that one tear was enough. It was a start. Nathan Pierce had never felt more helpless in his entire life. As a businessman, he was used to solving problems. Identify the issue. Develop a strategy. Execute the plan. But grief wasn't a business deal. And his daughter's trauma wasn't something he could strategize his way out of. After that first morning at Isabel's bakery, Nathan began to research everything he could about childhood trauma, selective mutism, and food refusal. He read medical journals. He consulted with psychiatrists across the country. He joined online support groups for parents of traumatized children. Everything he read told him the same thing: healing takes time. There were no shortcuts. No quick fixes. A child who'd witnessed the kind of trauma Lily Rose had experienced couldn't simply be talked out of her pain or medicated into wellness. She needed to process what had happened at her own pace, in her own way. But Nathan didn't have time. Every day that Lily Rose didn't eat, she got weaker. Her body was starting to shut down. Her organs were being affected. The doctors warned him that if she didn't start eating soon, there would be permanent damage. He tried everything he could think of. He brought Lily Rose's favorite toys to the bakery, hoping they might spark some response. Nothing. He played her favorite movies on his phone, thinking maybe the familiar sounds would comfort her. She stared right through the screen. He begged. He cried. He promised her anything she wanted if she'd just take one bite. Just one. Lily Rose never responded. The only thing that seemed to make any difference at all was Isabel. Every morning, Nathan brought Lily Rose to Sweetwater Patisserie. And every morning, Isabel greeted them with a warm smile, fresh baked goods, and a gentle presence that never pushed or demanded anything from Lily Rose. Isabel would bake while Lily Rose sat at her table. Sometimes Isabel talked. Sometimes she was quiet. But she was always there, steady and patient, creating beautiful things out of simple ingredients. Nathan would sit in a corner, trying to stay out of the way, watching this stranger show his daughter more kindness than anyone else had. Isabel never treated Lily Rose like she was broken or strange. She treated her like a normal little girl who was going through something hard. "Tell me about your wife," Isabel said one morning, about a week into their daily visits. She was kneading bread dough, her hands moving in a practiced rhythm. Nathan looked up, startled. Nobody asked him about Rebecca. People avoided the subject as if talking about her would somehow make things worse. "Rebecca," Nathan said slowly, testing the name on his tongue. It hurt. God, it hurt. But it also felt good in a strange way. Like he was keeping her alive by saying her name out loud. She was the best person I ever knew. Kind. Patient. She could light up a room just by walking into it. Isabel smiled. "She sounds wonderful." She was. Nathan's throat tightened. She didn't care about the money or the business. She just cared about making people happy. Making Lily Rose happy. His voice broke. She would have known what to do. She would have known how to help Lily Rose through this. "I'm useless at this. I don't know how to help my own daughter." "You're not useless," Isabel said firmly. "You're here. You show up every single day. You hold her. You bring her to a safe place. That's not useless, Nathan. That's love." Nathan wanted to believe her. But when he looked at Lily Rose sitting at her table like a ghost, he felt like he was failing in the most fundamental way possible. "How did you do it?" he asked Isabel. "How did you survive losing your husband?" Isabel was quiet for a moment. Her hands kept moving, kneading the dough with steady, sure movements. "I didn't survive it at first," she finally said. "I drowned in it. I let the grief pull me under, and I stayed underwater for a long time. Long enough that I wasn't sure I wanted to come back up." Nathan understood that feeling all too well. "But then I started baking," Isabel continued. "And baking gave me something to do with my hands. Something to focus on besides the pain. It didn't make the grief go away. Nothing makes grief go away. But it made it bearable. It gave me moments where I could breathe." She looked over at Lily Rose. "That's what we're doing here. We're giving her moments where she can breathe. Where she doesn't have to think about what happened or what she lost. She can just be. And eventually, those moments will get longer. And longer. Until one day she'll remember that there are still good things in the world." "How long did it take you?" Nathan asked. "To remember there were good things?" Isabel smiled sadly. "I'm still remembering. Every day. Some days are easier than others. But I'm here. I'm alive. I'm baking bread and helping people and finding small pieces of joy where I can. That's all any of us can do." Nathan watched Lily Rose for a long moment. She was staring at Isabel's hands as they worked the dough. It was the most focused he'd seen her in weeks. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For doing this. For helping us." "You don't have to thank me," Isabel replied. "I want to help. Lily Rose reminds me of myself. And if I can spare her even a fraction of the pain I went through, then it's worth it." That afternoon, Nathan's mother came to the bakery. Patricia Pierce was a formidable woman, tall and elegant, with silver hair styled perfectly and designer clothes that probably cost more than most people's cars. She'd been skeptical when Nathan first told her about Isabel, but she'd agreed to come see for herself. Patricia walked into Sweetwater Patisserie like she owned the place, her expensive heels clicking on the floor. But when she saw Lily Rose sitting at the table, her expression softened. "Hello, sweetheart," Patricia said gently, kneeling down beside her granddaughter. Lily Rose didn't respond. Patricia's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them away quickly. Isabel came out from behind the counter, wiping flour from her hands. "You must be Nathan's mother," she said, extending a hand. "I'm Isabel Cooper." Patricia stood and shook her hand, assessing her with sharp eyes. "Patricia Pierce. Nathan tells me you've been working with Lily Rose." "I've been spending time with her," Isabel corrected. "I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone who understands what it's like to lose someone you love." Patricia studied her for a long moment. Then she said, "Nathan also tells me you've refused any payment." "That's right." "Why?" Isabel shrugged. "Because I don't need it. And because some things are more important than money." Patricia's expression shifted. She looked at Isabel with something that might have been respect. "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "Someone trying to take advantage of my son's desperation," Patricia said bluntly. Someone who saw a wealthy, grief-stricken man and thought they could exploit him. Isabel met her gaze steadily. I'm not interested in exploiting anyone, Mrs. Pierce. I'm interested in helping a little girl who's hurting. Patricia nodded slowly. I believe you. She glanced at Lily Rose, then back at Isabel. Whatever you're doing, please keep doing it. She's been through so much. We all have. And you're the first person who's made me feel like there might be hope. There's always hope, Isabel said. Sometimes we just have to look harder to find it. Patricia reached into her purse and pulled out a business card. This is my personal number. If you need anything at all, anything that might help Lily Rose, you call me. Day or night. Isabel took the card. Thank you. After Patricia left, Nathan approached Isabel. She likes you, he said. My mother doesn't like many people. Isabel smiled. She's worried about Lily Rose. That's normal. She's worried about me too, Nathan admitted. She thinks I'm going to break. That I'm barely holding it together. Are you? Isabel asked gently. Nathan laughed, but there was no humor in it. I don't know. Some days I feel like I'm doing okay. And then I look at Lily Rose and I realize I'm not okay at all. I'm terrified. Every single day, I'm terrified that she's going to slip away and I won't be able to stop it. That's understandable, Isabel said. You're carrying a lot. Too much for one person. I don't have a choice. You do though, Isabel said. You can let other people help. You can lean on your mother. You can lean on me. You don't have to do this alone. Nathan looked at her. Really looked at her. This woman who'd lost as much as he had, who understood pain in a way most people couldn't, who was offering him kindness without expecting anything in return. Why are you helping us? He asked. Really? Why? Isabel was quiet for a moment. Then she said, because 2 years ago when my husband died I needed someone to help me. And nobody did. Everyone was kind, everyone was sympathetic, but nobody really understood. Nobody knew how to sit with me in my grief without trying to fix it or rush me through it. I had to figure out how to survive on my own. And I don't want Lily Rose to go through what I went through. I don't want her to feel that alone. Nathan's eyes burned with tears. I don't know how to repay you. You don't repay kindness, Isabel said. You pass it forward. 2 weeks into their daily visits to Sweetwater Patisserie, something changed. It was subtle. So subtle that Nathan almost missed it. But Isabel noticed. Lily Rose was watching her hands as she rolled out pie dough. Not just staring through her the way she stared at everything else. Actually watching. Following the movements. Her head turned slightly to track the rolling pin. Isabel caught Nathan's eye and gave him a tiny nod. Keep watching. I'm making apple pie today, Isabel said conversationally. It's one of the harder pies because you have to make sure the apples are sliced just right. Too thick and they don't cook properly. Too thin and they turn to mush. She picked up an apple and began to peel it with a small knife, the peel coming off in one long spiral. My husband used to challenge me to see if I could peel the whole apple without breaking the peel. He said it was good luck if you could do it. The peel broke. Isabel laughed softly. Well, I guess I need more practice. She sliced the apple into thin, even pieces and dropped them into a bowl. Then she picked up another apple and held it out toward Lily Rose. Would you like to try peeling one? Isabel asked. Nathan held his breath. Lily Rose didn't move. That's okay, Isabel said easily. She set the apple down on the table in front of Lily Rose. It's here if you change your mind. She went back to her work, humming softly. Nathan watched his daughter, hope and fear tangled in his chest. 10 minutes passed. 15. 20. Then, so slowly that Nathan almost didn't believe what he was seeing, Lily Rose reached out and touched the apple. Just a touch. The tips of her fingers against the smooth red skin. Nathan's heart nearly stopped. Isabel didn't react. She kept working, kept humming as if nothing extraordinary was happening. But Nathan saw the slight smile on her face. Lily Rose picked up the apple. She held it in both hands, turning it slowly, examining it from all sides. Apples are interesting, aren't they? Isabel said, still not looking directly at Lily Rose. They grow on trees. Did you know that? Apple trees have white or pink flowers in the spring, and then the flowers turn into apples. It takes all summer for them to grow big enough to pick. Lily Rose set the apple back down on the table. But she'd touched it. She'd picked it up. She'd engaged with something outside her own head for the first time in 2 months. That night after Nathan took Lily Rose home, he called his mother. She touched an apple, he said, and then he started crying. Patricia was silent for a moment. Then she said, That's good, sweetheart. That's very good. It's just an apple, Mom. She didn't eat it. She didn't speak. She just touched it. Progress is progress, Patricia said firmly. Don't dismiss small victories. They add up. Nathan wanted to believe her. But he was so tired of hoping. So tired of looking for signs that might not mean anything at all. The next morning, Isabel was making bread when they arrived. Lily Rose sat at her usual table, and Nathan settled into his corner, watching. Isabel brought a ball of dough to Lily Rose's table. This is bread dough, she explained. It's made of flour, water, yeast, and salt. That's it. 4 ingredients. But when you knead it and let it rise and bake it, those 4 simple ingredients turn into something amazing. She set the dough on the table in front of Lily Rose. You can touch it if you want. Feels interesting. Kind of soft and springy. Lily Rose stared at the dough. Isabel went back to her own work, kneading another ball of dough on the counter. She didn't push. Didn't prod. Just let the invitation hang in the air. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then Lily Rose reached out and poked the dough with one finger. Nathan's breath caught. Lily Rose poked it again. Then again. Then she pressed her whole palm against it, feeling the way it gave under her hand. That's it, Isabel said encouragingly. You can push it around. You can pull it. You can shape it however you want. There's no wrong way to touch dough. Lily Rose began to knead the dough, copying Isabel's movements. Her motions were jerky and uncertain, but she was doing it. She was engaging. She was present. Tears streamed down Nathan's face. He didn't bother to wipe them away. For the next hour, Lily Rose worked the dough. She didn't make anything recognizable. She just pushed and pulled and shaped it over and over like she was working something out in her mind. When it was time to leave, Isabel carefully wrapped the dough in plastic. You can take this home, she said. You can keep playing with it if you want. And tomorrow we can bake it and see what happens. Lily Rose didn't respond. But when Nathan picked her up to carry her to the car, she clutched the wrapped dough to her chest. That night, Nathan watched as Lily Rose sat on the kitchen floor and worked the dough. She didn't speak. She didn't eat. But she was doing something. And that was more than she'd done in 2 months. The next day they brought the dough back to the bakery. Isabel helped Lily Rose shape it into a simple round loaf. Together they put it in the oven. Baking is magic, Isabel told Lily Rose as they waited. You put dough in the oven and it transforms into bread. It rises and browns and becomes something completely different from what it started as. When the bread came out, golden and perfect, Isabel set it on the table to cool. Then she tore off a small piece and held it out to Lily Rose. This is the bread you made, Isabel said. You created this. Would you like to taste it? Nathan stopped breathing. Lily Rose looked at the bread. Then at Isabel. Then back at the bread. Slowly she reached out and took it. She held it for a long moment. Then even more slowly she brought it to her mouth. And took a bite. Nathan made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. He pressed his hand over his mouth, his whole body shaking. Lily Rose chewed slowly. Swallowed. Then took another bite. It wasn't much. Maybe 2 bites total. But it was food. Real food. Food she'd chosen to eat on her own. Isabel smiled. You did such a good job, she said gently. I'm so proud of you, Lily Rose. Lily Rose didn't respond. But she didn't push the bread away either. After they left that day, Nathan pulled Isabel aside. Thank you, he said, his voice raw. Thank you for giving me my daughter back. She was never gone, Isabel said. She was just very far away. And she's finding her way back, one step at a time. I want to pay you, Nathan insisted. Please. Let me pay you for your time, for everything you're doing. No. Isabel, please. You've spent hours with her. You've rearranged your whole schedule. And I'd do it all again, Isabel interrupted. I don't want your money, Nathan. I want Lily Rose to heal. That's all I want. Nathan looked at her with something like awe. You're remarkable, he said quietly. Do you know that? Isabel felt her cheeks warm. I'm just doing what anyone would do. No, Nathan said firmly. You're doing what no one else would do. What no one else could do. You're saving my daughter's life. And I will never ever forget that. The next morning, Nathan arrived at the bakery with a proposal. I want to hire you, he said. Not just for a few hours a day. Full-time. Live-in. Whatever you need, whatever salary you want, it's yours. Just please keep helping Lily Rose. Isabel had been expecting this. She'd been thinking about it for days, actually knowing it was coming. The practical side of her brain said yes. A full-time salary from a billionaire would be life-changing. She could pay off the bakery. Expand. Maybe even hire help. But the other side of her brain, the side that had learned to be cautious, hesitated. Moving into Nathan's home meant appending her entire life. Leaving her bakery. Leaving the safe, small world she'd built for herself. She looked at Lily Rose, sitting at her table with a ball of dough, carefully shaping it into a lopsided heart. The decision was already made. "Yes," Isabel said. "I'll come. Before we continue this journey, I need to ask you something. Would you let a stranger into your heart if they were the only one who could heal it? Would you trust someone with your most precious treasure if you had no other choice?" Comment below and subscribe to see how this family transforms from broken strangers into something beautiful. Moving into the Pierce mansion was like stepping into a different world. The house was enormous, with high ceilings and marble floors and windows that stretched from floor to ceiling. Everything was expensive. Everything was perfect. Everything was cold. Isabel's room was on the second floor, down the hall from Lily Rose's bedroom. It had a king-size bed, a walk-in closet bigger than her entire apartment above the bakery, and a bathroom with a soaking tub and a shower that had more settings than her car. It was beautiful. It was luxurious. It didn't feel like home. Nathan gave her a tour of the house, showing her the library, the gym, the home theater, the pool. "Make yourself comfortable," he said. "Use anything you want. The whole house is open to you." Isabel nodded, feeling overwhelmed. She'd agreed to this. She'd said yes without hesitation. But now that she was here in this massive house that felt more like a museum than a home, she wondered if she'd made a mistake. "The kitchen is downstairs," Nathan continued. "Patricia had it fully stocked with anything you might need for baking. If there's something you want that's not there, just let me know." The kitchen was incredible. Commercial-grade appliances. Marble countertops. A walk-in pantry with every ingredient imaginable. It was a baker's dream. But it wasn't her bakery. It wasn't the small, cozy space where she'd learned to breathe again after Thomas died. "Lily Rose's routine is pretty simple," Nathan said. "She wakes up around 7. I usually help her get dressed, though she doesn't really cooperate. She'll sit wherever I put her and stay there until someone moves her. She doesn't eat breakfast. She doesn't eat lunch. She doesn't eat dinner. Or at least she didn't until you." His voice caught on the last word. "The past few days, though," he continued, "she's been eating small amounts. A bite here. A bite there. Nothing consistent. But it's more than she's eaten in weeks." "That's progress," Isabel said. "It's a miracle," Nathan corrected. "You're a miracle." Isabel felt uncomfortable with the weight of his gratitude. "I'm not a miracle. I'm just someone who understands grief." Nathan looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. Instead he said, "Lily Rose's bedroom is the one with the pink door. You can go in anytime. She won't mind. She doesn't really react to anything." That night, Isabel unpacked her suitcase and tried to settle into her new room. She'd brought clothes, a few photos of Thomas, and her grandmother-in-law's recipe box. Everything else she'd left at the bakery. She'd hired a local teenager to watch the shop during the day, with instructions to call if there were any problems. Leaving the bakery had been harder than she'd expected. It was the place where she'd learned to live again. The place where Thomas's memory felt strongest. But Lily Rose needed her more than the bakery did right now. Around 9 o'clock, Isabel heard crying. Soft, muffled sobs coming from down the hall. She followed the sound to Lily Rose's room. The pink door was slightly ajar. Inside, Nathan sat on the edge of Lily Rose's bed, his face in his hands, shoulders shaking. Lily Rose was asleep, curled up under a unicorn print comforter. She looked tiny in the big bed. Isabel knocked softly on the doorframe. Nathan looked up, quickly wiping his eyes. "Sorry," he said hoarsely. "I didn't mean to wake you." "You didn't," Isabel said. "I was still unpacking." She stepped into the room. "Are you okay?" Nathan laughed bitterly. No, I'm not okay. I haven't been okay since Rebecca died. I don't think I'll ever be okay again." Isabel sat down in the rocking chair by the window. "Tell me about her," she said. "About Rebecca." Nathan looked at his sleeping daughter. "She was beautiful," he said. "Not just physically, though she was that too. She was beautiful on the inside. She had this way of seeing the best in everyone. She volunteered at the children's hospital. She organized fundraisers for the homeless shelter. She baked cookies for the neighbors every Christmas." He smiled, but it was a sad smile. "She would have loved you. You remind me of her, actually. That same quiet kindness. That same way of making people feel seen." "How did you meet her?" Isabel asked. "At a charity gala," Nathan said. "I was there because my mother made me go. Rebecca was there because she'd organized the whole thing. She was wearing this blue dress and she was laughing at something one of the volunteers said, and I thought she was the most alive person I'd ever seen. He fell silent for a moment. I asked her to dance. She said yes. We got married a year later. Lily Rose came 2 years after that. We had everything. Absolutely everything. And then one drunk driver took it all away in a split second. His voice broke. She was just taking our daughter to ballet class. That's all. Just a normal Saturday morning. And she never came home. Isabel felt tears on her own cheeks. I'm so sorry. People keep saying that, Nathan said. They say they're sorry and I know they mean it, but it doesn't change anything. Sorry doesn't bring her back. Sorry doesn't make Lily Rose speak. Sorry doesn't undo the worst day of our lives. No, Isabel agreed. It doesn't. Nothing does. But people say it because they don't know what else to say. Because grief is so big and so overwhelming that there aren't really any right words. Nathan looked at her. What helped you? After your husband died? Time, Isabel said. And baking. And letting myself feel everything even when it hurt so much I thought it would kill me. Did it get easier? Isabel considered the question. Not easier. Different. The grief is always there, but you learn to carry it. You learn to live alongside it instead of trying to outrun it. Nathan nodded slowly. Lily Rose isn't learning that. She's just shutting down. She's 4 years old, Isabel said gently. She doesn't have the tools to process something this big, but we'll give her those tools. We'll help her find a way through. How? The same way we've been doing. Slowly. Gently. With flour and sugar and patience. The next morning, Isabel woke Lily Rose at 7 and helped her get dressed. The little girl was passive, allowing herself to be dressed like a doll. She didn't resist, but she didn't help either. Isabel carried her downstairs to the kitchen. Nathan was already there making coffee. He looked like he hadn't slept. Good morning, Isabel said cheerfully. She set Lily Rose in a chair at the kitchen table. We're going to make pancakes today. Do you like pancakes, Lily Rose? No response. Isabel pulled out flour, eggs, milk, and butter. She arranged them on the counter and began measuring ingredients into a bowl. Pancakes are simple, she said conversationally. But simple doesn't mean easy. You have to get the proportions just right, or they don't turn out well. She whisked the batter smooth and heated a griddle. My husband loved pancakes. He'd eat them for every meal if I let him. Breakfast pancakes, lunch pancakes, dinner pancakes. Once, I made him a birthday cake that was actually a giant stack of pancakes with frosting between the layers. Nathan smiled slightly at that. Was it good? It was terrible, Isabel admitted. The pancakes got soggy from the frosting. But Thomas ate the whole thing anyway and told me it was the best birthday cake he'd ever had. She poured batter onto the griddle, watching as bubbles formed on the surface. That's how you know they're ready to flip. When the bubbles pop and don't fill back in. She flipped the pancakes perfectly. They were golden brown. She stacked 3 on a plate and brought them to Lily Rose. These are for you, Isabel said. You don't have to eat them. But I thought you might like to smell them. Sometimes smelling good food is almost as nice as eating it. Lily Rose stared at the pancakes. Isabel went back to the griddle and made pancakes for Nathan and herself. They ate together at the table, not speaking much, just existing in the same space. When they were done, Nathan cleared the plates. Lily Rose's pancakes were untouched. That's okay, Isabel said. Maybe tomorrow. This became their routine. Every morning, Isabel would make something for breakfast and offer it to Lily Rose with no pressure. Lily Rose never ate. But she would sit at the table. She would smell the food. She would watch Isabel cook. Days passed like this. Isabel moved through the kitchen with practiced ease, teaching without teaching, showing Lily Rose through her actions that creating food could be a form of meditation, of healing. On the 5th day, Isabel was making biscuits. She rolled out the dough on the counter and used a round cutter to shape them. You want to cut them straight down, she explained. Don't twist the cutter. That seals the edges and they won't rise properly. She cut out a dozen biscuits and arranged them on a baking sheet. Then she brought the leftover scraps of dough to Lily Rose. You can play with this if you want, Isabel said. It's just scraps. You can shape it into anything. Lily Rose looked at the dough. Then slowly she reached out and touched it. Nathan, who was drinking coffee in the corner, set down his mug carefully. Lily Rose began to work the dough, her small hands pressing and pulling. She wasn't making anything specific. She was just feeling the texture, exploring how it moved under her fingers. That's wonderful, Isabel said softly. You're doing so well. Every day after that, Isabel gave Lily Rose scraps of whatever she was making. pie dough, cookie dough, bread dough. And every day Lily Rose would work the dough with increasing confidence. 2 weeks after Isabel moved in, Lily Rose shaped the dough into a star. It was lopsided and lumpy, but it was recognizable. It was intentional. Nathan started crying right there at the kitchen table. Isabel baked the star and gave it back to Lily Rose on a small plate. "Look what you made," she said. "You made a star." Lily Rose held the baked star in her hands, turning it over, examining it. Then she took a bite. It was small. Maybe just a nibble. But it was food she'd made herself and she'd chosen to eat it. Progress. Lily Rose didn't suddenly start eating normally. That would have been too easy, too much like a movie where everything gets fixed with one big moment. Real healing wasn't like that. Real healing was slow and messy and full of setbacks. But she did start eating. Small amounts. Unpredictable timing. Always things she'd helped make, never things that someone just put in front of her. Isabel adjusted her approach. Instead of making full meals, she focused on simple recipes that Lily Rose could participate in. They made butter together, shaking cream in a jar until it separated. They made fruit salad, with Lily Rose carefully arranging strawberries and blueberries on a plate. They made grilled cheese sandwiches, with Lily Rose watching the bread turn golden brown in the pan. And little by little, bite by bite, Lily Rose ate. Nathan watched this transformation with a mixture of relief and grief. Relief that his daughter was finally eating, finally engaging with the world again. Grief that it had taken a stranger to reach her when he couldn't. "You're her father," Isabel told him one evening. They were sitting in the living room after Lily Rose had gone to bed. "She needs you. This isn't about me replacing you. This is about me helping her until she's ready to come back to you." "She doesn't even look at me anymore," Nathan said. "When I pick her up, she's limp. When I talk to her, she doesn't respond. It's like I'm invisible to her." "She's protecting herself," Isabel said. "She lost her mother. In her child's mind, she's terrified of losing you too. So she's keeping everyone at a distance. If she doesn't attach, she can't be hurt again. How do I get through to her?" "You keep showing up," Isabel said. "You keep being present. You keep loving her even when she can't love you back right now. Eventually, she'll feel safe enough to let you in again." Nathan wanted to believe her. But it was hard to be patient when every day without his daughter's voice felt like an eternity. 3 weeks after Isabel moved in, something changed. They were making cookies, the three of them in the kitchen. Isabel was measuring ingredients. Lily Rose was standing on a step stool watching. Nathan was sitting at the table, pretending to work on his laptop but really just watching his daughter. "Can you hand me the vanilla?" Isabel asked Lily Rose, pointing to the small bottle on the counter. Lily Rose picked up the vanilla and handed it to Isabel. It was such a small thing. A simple action. But it was cooperation. It was engagement. It was Lily Rose participating instead of just existing. Isabel smiled. "Thank you, sweetheart. That's very helpful." They finished making the cookies and put them in the oven. While they waited for them to bake, Isabel wiped down the counter and Lily Rose sat at the table, swinging her legs. Nathan noticed that Lily Rose was watching him. Not just staring through him the way she usually did. Actually watching him. Her eyes were focused on his face. He didn't move. Didn't speak. He just met her gaze and smiled gently. Lily Rose didn't smile back. But she didn't look away either. When the cookies came out of the oven, Isabel let them cool for a few minutes and then put 2 on a plate for Lily Rose. "Fresh cookies are the best," she said. "They're still warm and the chocolate is still melty." Lily Rose picked up a cookie. She took a bite. Then another. Then another. She ate the entire cookie. Then she ate the second one. Nathan's hands trembled. He gripped the edge of the table to steady himself. Isabel caught his eye and smiled. "Would you like some cookies too, Nathan?" "Yes," he managed to say. "Yes, please." They sat together at the table, the three of them eating warm chocolate chip cookies. Lily Rose didn't speak. But she was present in a way she hadn't been in months. That night, after Lily Rose was asleep, Nathan found Isabel in the library. She was reading a cookbook, making notes in the margins. "She ate 3 cookies today," Nathan said. 3 whole cookies. "I know," Isabel said. "She's doing so well." Nathan sat down across from her. "I need to tell you something." Isabel set down the cookbook. "Okay." "When Rebecca died," Nathan began, "I thought my life was over. I thought I'd lost everything that mattered. But then Lily Rose started shutting down and I realized I could lose even more. I could lose her too in a different way. And that was even more terrifying." He paused, struggling to find the right words. "You saved her. You saved both of us. And I don't know how to thank you for that." You don't have to thank me, Isabel said gently. But I do, Nathan insisted. You gave up your bakery, your home, your entire life to move in here and help a little girl you barely knew. You asked for nothing in return. You didn't want money or recognition or anything. You just wanted to help. And I need you to know that it matters. That you matter. Isabel felt tears welling up. Lily Rose matters to me, she said. She reminds me of myself after Thomas died. And if I can help her avoid some of the pain I went through, then it's worth it. Nathan reached across the table and took her hand. You're an incredible person, Isabel Cooper. Isabel's breath caught. Nathan's hand was warm, his grip gentle but firm. She realized with some surprise that this was the first time anyone had touched her with affection since Thomas died. The bakery customers shook her hand sometimes or patted her arm, but nobody had held her hand like this. Like she mattered. Like she was more than just the baker. Thank you, she whispered. They sat like that for a long moment, hands clasped, neither of them wanting to break the connection. The next morning, something extraordinary happened. Isabel was making French toast. Lily Rose was at the table watching as always. Nathan was reading the newspaper. Isabel brought a plate of French toast to the table and set it in front of Lily Rose. This is French toast, she said. It's bread soaked in egg and milk and then fried in butter. My husband used to make it for me on lazy Sunday mornings. Lily Rose looked at the French toast. Then she looked at Nathan. Daddy, she said. The word was so quiet, so unexpected, that for a moment Nathan thought he'd imagined it. But then Lily Rose said it again, louder this time. Daddy. Nathan's newspaper fell from his hands. He stared at his daughter, eyes wide, mouth open. Lily Rose, he breathed. Daddy, Lily Rose repeated. She pointed at the French toast. Mama made this. Nathan's face crumpled. He fell to his knees beside her chair and pulled her into his arms, sobbing. Yes, baby. Mama used to make French toast. Just like this. And it was the best French toast in the whole world. Lily Rose wrapped her thin arms around Nathan's neck. I miss Mama. I know, sweetheart. I know. I miss her too. So much. Is she coming back? Nathan pulled back enough to look into his daughter's eyes. No, baby. Mama can't come back. She's in heaven now. But she loves you. She loves you so much. And she's always with you right here. He pressed his hand over Lily Rose's heart. Right here forever. Lily Rose's eyes filled with tears. It hurts. I know, Nathan whispered. It hurts for me too. But we're going to be okay. You and me. We're going to be okay. Lily Rose buried her face in Nathan's shoulder and cried. Real tears for the first time since the accident. Not the silent, frozen grief but actual sobs. Nathan held her and cried with her, rocking her gently, whispering that he loved her, that everything would be all right, that they would get through this together. Isabel stood by the stove, tears streaming down her own face, watching this father and daughter finally grieve together. It was the beginning of healing. Real, lasting healing. After Lily Rose spoke for the first time, it was like a dam had broken. She didn't become a chatterbox overnight, but words came more frequently. Short sentences. Simple observations. Questions about her mother. Nathan handled each question with as much honesty as a 4-year-old could understand. Yes, Mama was gone. No, she couldn't come back. Yes, it was okay to be sad. Yes, it was okay to be angry. Yes, Mama loved her very, very much. Isabel watched Nathan navigate these difficult conversations with admiration. He was learning to be present with his daughter's grief instead of trying to fix it. He was learning that sometimes the best thing a parent could do was simply listen. Lily Rose's appetite improved too. She started eating regular meals, though she still preferred things she'd helped prepare. Isabel taught her simple recipes. Scrambled eggs, fruit smoothies, peanut butter sandwiches. Nothing complicated, but enough that Lily Rose felt like she had some control over what went into her body. The house started to feel different. Less like a museum and more like a home. There was laughter sometimes. Lily Rose would giggle when she cracked an egg and got shell in the bowl. Nathan would tell silly jokes at dinner. Isabel would hum while she baked, and the sound would fill the kitchen with warmth. Patricia came to visit often. She was overjoyed to hear her granddaughter speaking again, eating again, living again. She would sit with Lily Rose and read her stories or help her color. And she would pull Isabel aside and thank her over and over with tears in her eyes. You brought our family back, Patricia said one afternoon. I don't know how to repay you. You don't need to repay me, Isabel said. Seeing Lily Rose smile is payment enough. One evening, about 6 weeks after Isabel moved in, Nathan asked her to join him on the back patio after Lily Rose was asleep. The night was warm, stars scattered across the sky like someone had thrown diamonds. "I've been thinking," Nathan said as they sat in comfortable patio chairs, "about what happens next." Isabel's heart sank. She'd known this conversation was coming. Now that Lily Rose was doing better, Nathan didn't need her anymore. She'd be going back to her bakery, back to her small apartment, back to her quiet, lonely life. "I understand," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Lily Rose is doing so much better. She doesn't need me like she used to." "That's not what I meant," Nathan said quickly. He turned to face her. "I don't want you to leave, Isabel. I want you to stay." Isabel blinked. "Stay. As part of our family," Nathan clarified. "Not as an employee. As something more." Isabel's heart began to race. "Nathan, I don't." "I know this is sudden," Nathan interrupted. "I know we've only known each other for a couple of months. But Isabel, you've become so important to us. To me. You're not just the woman who saved Lily Rose. You're the woman who saved me too." He reached over and took her hand. "When Rebecca died, I thought I'd never feel anything again except pain. But you've shown me that there can be happiness even after loss. That there can be new beginnings. That life doesn't end just because someone we love is gone." "Nathan," Isabel whispered, overwhelmed. "I'm not asking you to replace Rebecca," Nathan said. "Nobody could ever replace her. But I'm asking if you'd be willing to build something new with us. With me and Lily Rose. Something that honors the past but doesn't live in it." Isabel didn't know what to say. Her feelings for Nathan had been growing, she realized. Slowly, quietly, like yeast rising in dough. She tried to ignore them, tried to tell herself that what she felt was just gratitude or friendship. But it was more than that. She'd fallen in love with this broken family. With this little girl who reminded her so much of herself. With this man who wore his grief openly and was learning to be the father his daughter needed. "I need time to think," Isabel said. Nathan nodded, though disappointment flickered across his face. "Of course. Take all the time you need." Isabel went to her room that night and lay awake for hours, thinking. Moving into the Pierce house permanently would mean leaving her bakery behind for good. It would mean stepping into a family that wasn't originally hers. It would mean opening her heart again, risking the kind of pain she'd felt when Thomas died. But it would also mean being part of something beautiful. Being part of Lily Rose's healing. Being part of Nathan's journey back to joy. Being part of a family again. The next morning, Isabel found Nathan in his office. "I want to stay," she said without preamble. "Not as Lily Rose's caregiver. Not as your employee. But as someone who loves her and wants to be part of her life. Part of your life." Nathan stood so fast his chair rolled backward. "Do you mean that?" "Yes," Isabel said. "I didn't think I could love again after Thomas died. I didn't think I wanted to. But you and Lily Rose have shown me that love doesn't end. It just grows and changes and finds new ways to exist." Nathan crossed the room and pulled her into a hug. Isabel stiffened for just a moment, then melted into him. He was warm and solid and he smelled like coffee and aftershave. It felt different from hugging Thomas, but not bad different. Just different. "Thank you," Nathan whispered into her hair. "Thank you for giving us a chance." They told Lily Rose that evening. Nathan explained that Isabel was going to stay with them forever, if that was okay with her. Lily Rose looked at Isabel seriously. "Are you going to be my new mama?" Isabel knelt down so she was at eye level with the little girl. "I could never replace your mama," she said gently. "Your mama was special and wonderful and she'll always be your mama. But if you want, I could be something else. I could be your Mama Belle. A different kind of mama, but one who loves you just as much." Lily Rose thought about this for a long moment. Then she said, "Okay. You can be Mama Belle." She threw her arms around Isabel's neck, and Isabel held her close, feeling her heart expand with love for this brave, resilient little girl. The Pierce house was changing. Patricia helped redecorate some of the rooms, making them feel warmer and more lived in. Nathan brought home flowers for the table. Lily Rose started leaving her toys scattered around instead of keeping them neatly put away in her room. The house was coming alive. Isabel sold her bakery to the young woman she'd hired to watch it. The woman was thrilled and Isabel was glad the shop would continue. But she didn't feel the pang of loss she'd expected. Her life was here now with Nathan and Lily Rose. She converted one of the downstairs rooms into a baking space. It wasn't as big as her commercial kitchen had been, but it was hers. She could still bake when the mood struck her, still create the breads and pastries that brought her peace. Nathan and Lily Rose would often join her in the kitchen. Nathan turned out to be terrible at baking, but Lily Rose had a natural talent. She'd carefully measure ingredients and follow instructions, creating cookies and muffins that looked almost professional. "You're so good at this," Isabel told her one day as Lily Rose decorated a batch of sugar cookies. "I learned from you," Lily Rose said simply. Isabel felt tears prick her eyes. She was learning from Lily Rose too. Learning that healing wasn't linear. Learning that family could be chosen as well as born. Learning that love could grow in the strangest places. One Saturday morning, 3 months after Isabel moved in, Nathan took them to Rebecca's grave. Lily Rose had asked to visit, and Nathan had agreed, though he was nervous about how she'd react. They brought flowers. Daisies, Rebecca's favorite. Lily Rose stood in front of the headstone, reading her mother's name out loud. "Rebecca and Pierce," she said. "Beloved wife and mother." "That's right," Nathan said quietly. Lily Rose set the daisies on the grave. Then she said, "Mama, this is Mama Belle. She's been helping me. She makes good cookies. I think you'd like her." Nathan's eyes filled with tears. He looked at Isabel and she saw gratitude and love and grief all mixed together on his face. "I'm taking good care of them," Isabel said to the headstone. "I promise. I'll love them as much as you did." The wind picked up, rustling the leaves on the trees above them. It felt like an answer. Like permission. Like Rebecca was telling them it was okay to move forward. They went home and baked together, the three of them, filling the kitchen with the smell of cinnamon and sugar. And for the first time since Rebecca died, the house felt full instead of empty. Life in the Pierce household settled into a comfortable rhythm. Mornings were for baking. Afternoons were for playing. Evenings were for family dinners around the big table in the kitchen, something Nathan insisted on even though the formal dining room was much more elegant. "Families eat together," he said. "That's what Rebecca always believed." And she was right. Lily Rose thrived with structure and routine. She still had hard days, days when she'd cry for her mama and refuse to be comforted by anyone. But those days were fewer now, and in between them were good days. Days full of laughter and joy and the simple pleasures of being a child. She started ballet again, something she'd stopped after the accident. Isabel took her to class every Tuesday and Thursday, and Nathan would come straight from work to pick her up. Lily Rose was cautious at first, hesitant to trust that good things could still happen. But gradually she relaxed. She started enjoying the music and the movement, started making friends with the other little girls. "She's doing so well," the ballet teacher told Isabel one day. "Whatever you're doing at home, keep doing it." What they were doing at home was simple. They were showing up. They were being present. They were creating a safe space where Lily Rose could be sad when she needed to be sad and happy when she needed to be happy. Nathan was changing too. The haunted look had faded from his eyes. He smiled more. He laughed more. He started taking weekends off from work to spend time with Lily Rose and Isabel. They went to the park. They visited the zoo. They had picnics by the lake. They did all the normal things families did, and slowly the weight of grief lifted enough that they could breathe. Isabel found herself healing too. She thought about Thomas often, but the memories didn't hurt as much as they used to. She could remember the good times without being overwhelmed by the loss. She could talk about him without crying. She could love him and love her new family at the same time. One evening, Nathan and Isabel were sitting on the back patio again, watching the sunset. It had become their ritual, these quiet moments after Lily Rose went to bed, when they could talk without interruption. "I've been thinking about something," Nathan said. "What's that?" "I want to start a foundation," he said, "in Rebecca's name. To help families dealing with childhood trauma. Families like ours who don't know where to turn or how to help their kids." Isabel smiled. "That's a beautiful idea. I want you to be part of it," Nathan continued. "I want you to help develop programs that use baking and cooking as therapeutic tools. I've seen what it did for Lily Rose. I think it could help other children too." "Nathan, I'm not a therapist," Isabel protested. "No, but you understand grief in a way most therapists don't," Nathan said. "You've lived it. You've survived it. And you've helped Lily Rose survive it too. That experience is valuable. More valuable than any degree." Isabel considered this. The idea of helping other families, other children, was appealing. If she could spare even one person the pain she'd gone through, it would be worth it. "Okay," she said. "I'll help." Nathan grinned. "Really? Really?" He reached over and took her hand, threading his fingers through hers. They sat like that as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. "I love you," Nathan said quietly. Isabel's breath caught. They'd been building toward this moment for weeks, maybe months. The feelings had been growing between them, undeniable but unspoken. "I love you too," she said. Nathan turned to her, his eyes serious. "I know it's complicated. I know we're both still healing. But I want you to know that I'm all in. With you. With us. With this family we're building." "I'm all in too," Isabel said. Nathan leaned in and kissed her. It was gentle, tentative, like he was afraid she might pull away. But Isabel didn't pull away. She kissed him back, letting herself feel this new love without guilt or fear. When they broke apart, both of them were smiling. "I want to marry you," Nathan said. "Not right now. Not tomorrow. But someday when the time is right. I want you to be my wife. I want us to be a real family." "We already are a real family," Isabel said. "I know. But I want to make it official." Isabel laughed. "Are you proposing?" "Not yet," Nathan said. "But I'm letting you know my intentions." "Duly noted," Isabel said, still smiling. They went inside hand in hand. Lily Rose was supposed to be asleep, but when they checked on her, she was sitting up in bed, wide awake. "Mama Belle," she said. "Daddy?" "We're here, sweetheart," Nathan said, sitting on the edge of her bed. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong," Lily Rose said. "I just wanted to tell you something." "What's that?" "I'm happy," Lily Rose said simply. "I'm still sad about Mama sometimes. But I'm happy too." Nathan pulled her into a hug. "I'm happy too, baby. So happy." Isabel sat on the other side of the bed and took Lily Rose's small hand. "We're going to be okay," she said. "All of us. Together." Lily Rose snuggled between them. "Can we have pancakes tomorrow?" "Absolutely," Isabel said. "Any kind you want." "Chocolate chip," Lily Rose decided. "With extra chocolate chips." They all laughed, and it was the best sound in the world. The foundation took a year to establish. They called it Rebecca's Kitchen, and its mission was to provide grief counseling and cooking therapy for families dealing with childhood trauma. The program paired trained chefs and bakers with child psychologists to create a holistic approach to healing. Isabel oversaw the development of the cooking curriculum. She created simple, age-appropriate recipes that children could make with minimal supervision. She trained volunteers on how to work with traumatized kids, emphasizing patience and understanding over pressure and expectations. The first family came through the program 6 months after it launched. A single father whose son had witnessed a violent crime and had stopped speaking. Isabel worked with the boy personally, and within 3 months he was talking again. Not perfectly. Not all the time. But enough. More families came. The program expanded. They opened satellite locations in 3 other cities. Nathan poured money and resources into the foundation, determined to honor Rebecca's memory by helping others the way Isabel had helped their family. Lily Rose was thriving. She was in 1st grade now, making friends and doing well in school. She still saw a therapist once a week to process her trauma, but she was happy. She was healthy. She was healing. On the 2-year anniversary of Rebecca's death, they had a small ceremony at her grave. Lily Rose brought flowers and a card she'd made herself. It had a drawing of a rainbow and the words, "I love you, Mama," written in crayon. "I'm in 1st grade now," Lily Rose told the headstone. "And I have a little brother. Did you know that? His name is Thomas, after Mama Belle's husband who died. Daddy says you would have liked the name." Isabel was 6 months pregnant. It had been a surprise but a welcome one. Nathan had proposed the day they found out, and Isabel had said yes without hesitation. They were getting married in the spring in a small ceremony in the backyard. Nothing fancy. Just family and close friends. Lily Rose was going to be the flower girl, and she'd already picked out her dress. Pink with sparkles because, as she'd explained, every flower girl needed sparkles. Life was good. Not perfect. They still had hard days. There were still moments when grief would hit them out of nowhere. But they faced those moments together as a family. "Rebecca would be so proud of Lily Rose," Isabel said as they walked back to the car. "She's such a brave, beautiful girl." "She is," Nathan agreed. "And she's that way because of you." "She's that way because she's your daughter," Isabel corrected. "She has your strength. Your resilience. She has your kindness," Nathan said. "Your gentle spirit." They drove home together, Lily Rose chattering in the back seat about a project she was working on at school. The house welcomed them with warmth and light. Patricia was already there, having let herself in with the spare key, and the smell of pot roast filled the air. "I made dinner," Patricia announced. "I figured you'd be tired after the cemetery." "Thank you, Mom," Nathan said, hugging her. They ate together, the 4 of them sharing stories and laughter. After dinner, Lily Rose helped Isabel make cookies while Nathan and Patricia cleaned up. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, Isabel stood in the kitchen and looked around. This house that had once felt so cold and empty was now full of life. Full of love. She placed her hand on her growing belly, feeling the baby kick. "You're coming into a good family," she whispered. "A family that knows how to love through pain. A family that knows how to hold on to joy even when things are hard." Nathan came up behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist, his hands covering hers on her belly. "What are you thinking about?" "How far we've come," Isabel said. "How much has changed. Do you have any regrets?" Nathan asked. Isabel thought about her old life. Her small apartment. Her bakery. The quiet, lonely days after Thomas died. She thought about the moment Nathan walked into her shop, desperate and broken, carrying his dying daughter. "No," she said. "No regrets. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be." Nathan kissed her temple. "I love you so much." "I love you too." They stood like that for a long time, holding each other in the kitchen that had become the heart of their home. The morning of Nathan and Isabel's wedding dawned bright and clear. Spring had arrived in full force, transforming the backyard into a garden of blooming flowers and fresh green grass. Isabel woke early, her stomach fluttering with nerves and excitement. She was 8 months pregnant now, and the baby had been particularly active all week, as if sensing something important was about to happen. Patricia arrived at 7 to help her get ready. They'd chosen a simple white dress that accommodated Isabel's belly, with lace sleeves and a flowing skirt. Nothing elaborate. Nothing that would make Isabel feel like she was trying to be something she wasn't. "You look beautiful," Patricia said as she helped Isabel with her hair. "Nathan is going to cry when he sees you." "He cries at everything these days," Isabel said with a laugh. "That's because he's happy," Patricia said. "Really truly happy. For the first time since Rebecca died." Isabel met Patricia's eyes in the mirror. "Thank you for accepting me into your family." Patricia's eyes grew misty. "Thank you for saving my family. For giving us hope when we'd lost it. For showing us that life goes on and that's okay." There was a knock on the door. Lily Rose peeked in, already dressed in her pink sparkly flower girl dress. "Is it time yet?" "Almost," Isabel said. "Come here and let me look at you." Lily Rose twirled, showing off her dress. She looked like a princess, her hair in curls, a wreath of flowers on her head. "You're beautiful," Isabel said. "You're beautiful too, Mama Belle," Lily Rose said. She climbed onto the bed carefully, not wanting to wrinkle her dress. "Are you scared?" "A little," Isabel admitted. "Are you?" "A little," Lily Rose echoed. "But it's a good scared. Like when you go on a roller coaster and you're excited and nervous at the same time." Isabel smiled. "That's exactly what it's like." "Will you still be my Mama Belle after you marry Daddy?" "Of course," Isabel said. "I'll always be your Mama Belle. Nothing will change that." "Good," Lily Rose said, satisfied. She touched Isabel's belly gently. "When is Thomas coming?" They'd found out they were having a boy and had decided to name him Thomas, after Isabel's late husband. It felt right, like they were honoring the past while embracing the future. "In about 4 weeks," Isabel said. "I'm going to be the best big sister," Lily Rose declared. "I know you will be." The ceremony was small and intimate. 30 guests, mostly family and close friends. They'd set up chairs in the backyard under a white canopy, with the garden providing a natural, beautiful backdrop. Nathan stood at the makeshift altar, wearing a dark blue suit. When he saw Isabel walking toward him, Patricia on one side and Lily Rose on the other, tears immediately filled his eyes. Isabel felt her own tears threatening. This man who'd been so broken when she met him, now stood tall and strong, smiling at her with so much love it took her breath away. The ceremony was brief. They exchanged simple vows, promising to love and honor each other through good times and bad. Promising to build a life together based on kindness, honesty, and mutual respect. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," Nathan pulled Isabel close and kissed her softly. The guests applauded, and Lily Rose threw flower petals in the air, laughing with delight. The reception was held in the backyard as well. Tables laden with food, most of it made by Isabel herself. She'd spent the week before the wedding baking bread and pastries, unable to help herself. Baking was her love language and she wanted to share that with their guests. "Everything is delicious," guests told her over and over. "You should open another bakery." But Isabel didn't want another bakery. She was happy here in this house with this family. She had everything she needed. As the sun began to set, Nathan pulled Isabel onto the makeshift dance floor for their first dance as husband and wife. The song was one Rebecca had loved, and Nathan had asked Isabel if it was okay to use it. She'd agreed without hesitation. Rebecca would always be part of their story, and that was okay. "I never thought I'd be here again," Nathan whispered as they swayed together. "I never thought I'd feel this happy after losing her." "She'd want you to be happy," Isabel said. "She loved you. She'd want you to live." "I know," Nathan said. "And I am living. Really living. For the first time in years." Lily Rose joined them on the dance floor, and Nathan picked her up, the three of them dancing together. Other guests joined in, and soon the backyard was full of people celebrating love and life and new beginnings. Later, as the party wound down and guests started to leave, Isabel found herself alone with Lily Rose for a moment. The little girl was tired, her flower crown askew, her dress stained with cake frosting. "Did you have fun today?" Isabel asked. "The best fun," Lily Rose said. She wrapped her arms around Isabel's waist, careful of her belly. "Thank you for marrying Daddy. Thank you for being my Mama Belle. Thank you for teaching me that it's okay to be happy even when you're sad." Isabel's heart swelled. "You're welcome, sweetheart. I think Mama would like you," Lily Rose said. "I think she'd be glad we found you." "I think so too," Isabel said. That night, after all the guests had left and the backyard was cleaned up, Isabel and Nathan sat on their back patio one last time as an engaged couple. Well, they were married now. But it still felt surreal. "This is it," Nathan said. "The rest of our lives starts now." "The rest of our lives," Isabel repeated. She liked the sound of that. 4 weeks later, Thomas Nathan Pierce was born. He came into the world healthy and squalling, with a full head of dark hair in his father's eyes. Lily Rose was smitten immediately. She held her baby brother carefully, supporting his head the way the nurses showed her, and declared him the most perfect baby ever born. "He looks like Daddy," she said. "But he has your smile, Mama Belle." Isabel couldn't see the smile yet, but she didn't argue. They brought Thomas home to a house full of love. Patricia was there to help. Lily Rose insisted on helping too, fetching diapers and singing lullabies to her brother. Nathan walked around in a daze of joy and exhaustion, marveling at how quickly his family had grown. Isabel watched them all with a full heart. 2 years ago, she'd been alone in a small apartment, drowning in grief, wondering if life was worth living. Now she was surrounded by people who loved her, who needed her, who'd given her a reason to keep going. She thought about Thomas often. Her first husband, her first love. She knew he'd be happy for her. He'd want her to have this full, messy, beautiful life. One evening, when Thomas was 3 months old and finally sleeping through the night, Isabel found herself in the kitchen. It was late. Everyone else was asleep. But she felt the urge to bake, the way she always did when she needed to process her feelings. She pulled out flour and sugar and butter. She made a batch of butter cookies, the same kind she'd offered to Lily Rose that first day in the bakery. The same kind that had started this whole journey. As they baked, filling the kitchen with their warm, sweet smell, Isabel reflected on how much had changed. How a desperate father and his dying daughter had walked into her bakery and changed her life forever. She'd given them hope. But they'd given her something too. They'd given her a reason to live again. They'd shown her that love could grow in the most unexpected places. That family could be chosen as well as born. That grief didn't have to be the end of the story. Nathan appeared in the doorway, drawn by the smell of baking. "Can't sleep?" "Just thinking," Isabel said. "About what?" "About how grateful I am. For you. For Lily Rose. For Thomas. For this life we've built together." Nathan crossed the kitchen and pulled her into his arms. "I'm grateful too. For you. For your kindness. For the way you loved my daughter when no one else could reach her. For the way you loved me back to life." They stood like that, holding each other in the kitchen that had become the heart of their home. The cookies finished baking and Isabel pulled them from the oven. They were perfect. Golden brown. The exact right texture. She set them on the counter to cool, and she and Nathan each took one warm from the oven. "These are good," Nathan said. "They should be," Isabel replied with a smile. "I've been making them for years." "No," Nathan said. "They're more than good. They're perfect. They taste like home. They taste like hope. They taste like everything good in the world." Isabel laughed. "They're just butter cookies." "Nothing you make is just anything," Nathan said. "Everything you create is special. Because you put love into it. And love makes all the difference." He was right, Isabel realized. Love did make all the difference. It had saved Lily Rose. It had saved Nathan. It had saved her too. The next morning Lily Rose came down to breakfast and found the cookies on the counter. "You made cookies without me?" she said, mock offended. "I'm sorry," Isabel said. I couldn't sleep and needed something to do with my hands. Lily Rose took a cookie and bit into it. Her face lit up. "These are the same cookies you gave me the first day I came to your bakery," she said. "They are," Isabel confirmed. "I didn't eat that cookie," Lily Rose said. "I was too sad to eat anything. But I remember it. I remember you putting it on the table and telling me it was okay if I didn't want it." "I remember that too," Isabel said. Lily Rose finished the cookie and came over to hug Isabel. "Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for teaching me how to be happy again." "You taught me too," Isabel said. "You taught me that healing is possible. That love can grow even in the darkest places. That kindness matters." Thomas started crying from his bassinet in the living room. Nathan went to get him, and soon they were all together in the kitchen. The family that had been built from broken pieces. They ate breakfast together as they did every morning. Pancakes because they were still Lily Rose's favorite. Coffee for Nathan and Isabel. Orange juice for Lily Rose. And lots of laughter and joy. After breakfast they went to the backyard. It was a beautiful spring day, the kind Rebecca would have loved. Lily Rose played on the swing set while Nathan pushed Thomas in his stroller around the garden. Isabel watched them, her heart so full it felt like it might burst. This is what happiness looks like, she thought. Not perfect. Not without pain. But real. Authentic. Hard-won. They'd all lost so much. Rebecca. Thomas. Years of their lives to grief. But they'd found something too. They'd found each other. They'd found hope. They'd found a way forward. And most importantly, they'd learned that kindness, hope, and love would always lead them home. Lily Rose ran up to Isabel, breathless and smiling. "Mama Belle, will you push me on the swing?" "Of course," Isabel said. She stood and took Lily Rose's hand, and together they walked across the grass. Behind them, Nathan followed with Thomas, and the four of them spent the afternoon in the sun, laughing and playing and simply being together. A family. Imperfect in patchwork and absolutely perfect for them. This was their happy ending. Not the end of their story, but the beginning of a new chapter. One filled with hope and healing and the kind of love that saves lives. And it all started with a simple question. Can you make her eat again? The answer had been yes. But what Isabel had really done was so much more than that. She'd made them whole.